And let me, before we ever get started, kudos to Michael Edgar and his staff. This past week has been a turn on the dime week for Lake Zurich because of the increased surge in COVID, particularly in Region 9, which encompasses Lake County. We were at some debate whether we would hold our annual budget hearing in person or in live. And within the last day or so, we decided we would do it virtually, and we did that Saturday. And we struggled what to do in terms of our presentation today. Do we do that live or virtually? And the mayor and I decided it's probably best to err on the side of caution. But that being said, Michael and his staff are able to turn on a dime at such a late notice, and you made this possible. And kudos to you and your people for making us, allowing us to present virtually today. I know it was a hard, quick decision, but it's greatly appreciated. So, Lake Zurich is a community in the southwest corner of Lake County. Lake County is the third largest county in Illinois. It is also home to approximately 35, 40 corporate 100 or headquarters. We are in the southwest corner. We are the large, we're a rather dynamic and economic hub of the southwest corner. Probably within 15 minutes, there is a population of 160,000 people. We are approximately 20,000 and then surrounded by about 20,000 immediately. And then beyond that, probably 160,000. We're a full service, professionally managed community. We have a AAA bond rating. We have, which I think speaks well to the professionalism, the way that the village has been operating for some time now. We are a major retail hub within 1.5 miles of each other. We have 4 national retail outlets, which drive approximately a $600 million retail powerhouse in this section of Lake County. Probably half of those people, the shoppers, are from Lake Zurich, and half of them are from surrounding communities that come and do their shopping on our Rand Road corridor. I think this has stood us very well in recent, not only in the Great Recession, but it was also in the current pandemic situation. Since we are such a stable commodity type of retail, our retail didn't take a hit like a lot of the other communities did that don't have the solid national chains. So I think that's a testament that we have been able to retail or weather the retail storm rather well. We don't have, we've of course had our concerns with our restaurant and hospitality industry, but we're weathering the storm with there as well. We are 24 miles from Chicago International Airport. 30 miles from the city of Chicago. We are one of the most highly skilled, highly educated workforces in the state. Approximately 56% of our residents hold a baccalaureate degree and over 20% hold a graduate degree or higher. So that is also, I think, complemented with a hard, high skills trade type of workforce that we have. Our community school district 95 is always ranked in the top 5% in the state of Illinois. We are ranked number 1 in terms of a choice for young families. So we, millennials and soon to be Generation Z, we look forward to welcoming you. And when you decide to move out of the urban core and into a less densely populated area with great schools and great opportunities. Housing is very affordable here. We have everything from luxury rental to $1 million plus single family homes. So in terms of the market, I think anyone wanting to move here and start a family here would be very well served by moving to Lake Zurich. We are also, I would say, one of the major reasons I think that we have joined SelectChicago is that 2 of our 5 largest employers in the industrial park are foreign-owned subsidiaries. Echo Industry is a Japanese-owned subsidiary, the Yamabiko Corporation. They're well over 800 employees, probably approaching 1,000. They're still, despite in this current environment, they're still going gangbusters. They're running 2 shifts, 6 days a week. are also another large employer is Termax. They are a French-owned subsidiary of Lessee Automotive out of France. They are in a high growth mode. They expanded a couple years ago. They're well over 400 employees. So I think in terms of foreign owned subsidiaries, Lake Zurich is very well served by that. And the major reasons we decided to join the SelectChicago as a steering committee member is that we want to grow that international presence in Lake Zurich, particularly in our industrial park, which encompasses about 20% of our land mass, but also whatever, any downtown development or office or retail development, that would also be more than welcome. But we do have a strong international presence in our industrial park. So we want to complement that. We want to grow that. And by our membership in SelectChicago, I think we do have a very opportune chance to do that. Earlier in January, the new Trade Council of Japan, his first visit to a municipal government like Zurich, because he wanted to see tour Eco Industries, which is, like I said, a Japanese-owned subsidiary. And he spent the day here, and I think he was very impressed. And we've had considerable conversations with the Japan External Trade Organization ever since, and that would not have happened without our membership in SelectChicago.
All right, great. Well, Roy, thank you. That was a great overview. And now I think we've got our computer gremlins straightened out. So, Roy, can you do me a favor and introduce your mayor?
It is my extreme pleasure to introduce Mayor Tom Poynton. Mayor Poynton is on his second term. He has introduced an incredible, talented team, very forward-thinking policies. He is very, very much attuned to his constituents and the residents of Lake Zurich. And I think he represents their interest, very, very well. So without further ado, Mayor Poynton.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Wow. I could see you. I could hear you. I couldn't see myself or hear myself. So Roy, thank you very much for that introduction and that preview of Lake Zurich. I appreciate that. I got nothing more to add. You did a great job. So I'll throw it back to Michael. Michael, good morning. Good to see you.
Hi,
good to see you guys. I thought I had this fixed. I thought I had this all figured out yesterday, and I guess I didn't. So what can I say?
Well, and that happens. I mean, what's great about, and actually this sets the stage of having this conversation right now, where we all have to pivot with this year. I mean, the whole FUBAR that was the world over the last 6 months. But look how well we've adapted. And honestly, what I'm so excited to have you two talk about is all the things and green shoots you're seeing with Lake Zurich. So, Mayor, why don't you walk through what measures you put together after COVID came in, and talk about what your experience the last 10 months.
Well, we've all certainly had a lot of fun lately, haven't we? In this, as you say, Michael, pivot. It's been a bit interesting since March. And it's been interesting for me too, because I actually tested positive for it. I tested positive. I had very, very few symptoms. I had a little runny nose for a day and a 100.5 degree temperature. Nothing that laid me down, nothing serious. I know exactly who gave it to me. I know exactly when and where I got it. And my wife, she also tested, but she tested negative. So we've had to pivot as far as the village is concerned, and as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry to have to make it do this on this type of presentation piece, but where the numbers are not going in the right direction for us, for anybody, and we're erring on the side of caution and on the side of safety. So, which is our primary concern for our residents. Initially, I wasn't quote unquote buying all of the hype on this thing, but as I've seen as I've seen people come down with it, and some people get sick, and clearly the deaths that have occurred, that's not where we want to be. So we're moving along. We're moving along, and we're doing okay here in Lake Zurich. We've had some a little negative publicity with some some kids having some parties and testing positive, but overall I think our business community is surviving reasonably well. We're lucky that or blessed that we've got 4 large retailers here within a mile of each other, a mile and a half of each other, with Target and Costco and Home Depot and what's the Walmart. So we're weathering part of this storm, at least financially, fairly well. The little guys are taking a hit, as you might expect, but even they are adjusting and pivoting as we go along. So and working with them, we're trying to help them as best we can. And like I always say, we can't run their businesses for them, but we can make life a little easier for them. So
Yeah, well, and Mary, it sounds like, in your background, I mean, you used to do marketing, but you also had a small business. So, talk about that and how you're looking in the programs you've been putting together to help small businesses.
did have a small business. I found out that wasn't my niche, so I ran that into the ground pretty good, and did that for 4 or 5 years. But basically,
Yeah.
I had a marketing and sales background with Fortune 500 major manufacturers, and I'm retired from that now, and now doing this. But we've got a give or take 600 or 700 businesses of all different sorts in the Lake Zurich area, and we've consistently worked with them with regard to helping them with some grant procurement early on. Many of them had a problem getting in contact with the right lenders, and Roy and his team helped a lot of them out with grant procurement, and we continue to push out multiple communications to them, letting them know that we're here, that we're supporting them. But in the same vein, we tried to communicate that we're not the COVID police, and we're looking to work with them as opposed to against them. So we've eased up on a lot of our regulations with small businesses. Especially with the restaurant and bar industry, who are taking it on the chin pretty good. But they've done an amazing job in, as you said, Michael, pivoting. We haven't lost any businesses post-COVID. We did lose 2 early on. TGI Fridays went out of business here, and so did the Pizza Hut went out of business. But recently, we've gotten a replacement for Pizza Hut, and we're going to get a Popeyes, which is good. Our vacancy rates in our strip plazas hasn't gone down appreciably. We seem to have landlords who can replace some of the things that they're losing, and they're working with us and Roy's staff. I think we do a great job in communicating to the public our participation with our business partners, and I think they've appreciated that. Back last week, I put out a message from the mayor talking about supporting our businesses and not taking the hammer and sickle approach like some of my fellow mayors have done. I didn't want to put a target on the backs of our restaurants. I didn't want any of these sanctions to come down hard on them, but they appreciated that. And then I went out and I visited every single dine-in restaurant that we have, and passed along the message that you have to do what you have to do to survive. And we understand that. And we can help you, but like I said before, we can't run your business for you. So we've eased up on a lot of our regulations. We own some property and we have some tenants that we've eased up on some of those rent restrictions. We've been flexible with payment plans on our utility bills, especially water and sewer. And we've assisted them as best we can in some of the phase 3 and phase 4 guidelines. So I don't know that we've lost any. Roy, are you familiar? I'm not seeing any businesses, restaurants in particular, that we've lost since this. Have you? They all seem to have adapted.
Maybe.
Of course, now it's 39 degrees outside, and who wants to eat in a tent with flamethrowers next to you, and
Awesome.
So they're going to have to adapt again, especially with the numbers going up the way they are. So in addition to that, we've also adjusted some of our ordinances with regard to deliveries. We had start and stop times, and because of COVID, we've had to adjust that a little bit, allowing them for earlier and later deliveries, which helps. Temporary signs, we've allowed temporary signs that are outside of our basic sign code. And we continue to evaluate our liquor codes right now as to what we're going to do come 2021. So we've been very, very active. Roy's put out multiple emails to the businesses. We've helped them with some of their grants and getting PPE and CARES Act funding. So we're trying the best we can to appease a whole lot of these businesses. So, and we're open to doing a lot of things. So it's not like we're saying, no, we can't do this. We always, one of the things that I tried to instill in our staff was, we don't ever want to tell anybody no at first glance. What we would like to do was say, let's see if we can find a solution. And we may get to a no at some point in time, but at this point, we're moving along quite well, I think. So.
No, and it's commendable. And Mayor, that's commendable, because what we do with the steering committee is we sit down about at least every other week, if not weekly, and we talk about what's happening throughout the different region. And we have been talking about how important it is to lead from the front and showing that the mayor's office and staff have the small business communities back as well as the large business communities back. The stories that I'm hearing from Roy about how even in your downtown, you're having a lot of growth. So why don't you talk about some of the things that are new and exciting about your Main Street, just across from City Hall. I had heard something new was going in.
We've had, we got ourselves I'm not going to go into the long, deep history of it, but we found ourselves, when I took office, which will be, I'm in my second term, I think Roy said that. And I am going to run for re-election. So I'm hoping to get a third term out of it. So we got a lot of stuff going on, but I looked initially at leaving no stone unturned. We started new marketing plans when I took over 8 years ago that have bared significant fruit. We put quality people into positions of senior staff jobs, Roy being one of them. And I'm not saying that because he's just looking at me right now, but he's been a valuable asset to us. But we needed to do something after an old downtown kind of just sat there moribund for a long time. And a previous administration had determined that it was best to serve the community by putting in a bypass. The main road through downtown is no longer the main road through downtown. We lost a lot of traffic. But what we tried to do is to bring people back downtown. We've done things like concentrate a lot of special events in our, and we're not even calling it a downtown area anymore because it's really a very, very small area. I don't think it's it's 100 yards long in most points of the compass. But we're trying to bring people back downtown, and we're trying to get local investment, which we've done with a long stagnant Bank of America building. We found we've got a local resident who's invested his own money into this old building, and he's got some real positive tenants coming. So we hope that that'll help. We've put in apartments. We've got some dead projects alive. Getting some feedback here. I haven't done anything.
Hey, Roy, can you mute? Yeah, Roy, why don't you mute? We're getting an echo feedback.
Yeah.
So anyways, we've got some positive things going with that. And what we also did was we tore down all of the buildings that weren't going to be repurposed, and we've basically created shovel-ready development opportunities for people who are interested and come well funded. You know, one of the problems that we saw early on was that we got a lot of interest, but they didn't have a lot of funding, and they wanted us to give them all the property for free and then walk away from all of our fees, which, you know, we can do some of that, but not all of it. So, and COVID has hurt us a little bit with respect to bringing people downtown, because we've had to cancel most of our large gathering events. So, like for example, we do a Miracle on Main Street tree lighting, Christmas tree lighting, which we're going to do. We're going to try and do it virtually, which should be interesting. We've canceled the car show. We've had to move. We had to that didn't even run this year. Our 4th of July celebration, like everybody else, those were all canceled, and those were all great people gathering spots. One of the things that we've done though was with the private public partnership with the local developer who finished off one of those old projects, was we built a beer garden on the lake in a park right in downtown, and that's been just a whopping success. So it's done all of the things that we wanted it to do. It's bringing people back down at the Main Street area.
Yeah, it's really a beautiful sight to behold, and seeing how you have that new housing development just a little bit, a couple hundred yards from City Hall, and then the beer garden, or really the patio that also allows for concerts in the grass overlooking the lake. Why don't you talk a little bit about what brought you to live in Lake Zurich? Because you've been a longtime resident, I think 35 plus years. And what we were talking in the session right before this is how municipalities like yours are uniquely poised to draw a number of, let's call them a little bit older millennials looking to get into housing in, this area. I mean, okay, I'm old enough to still call it that Ela Township High School, not Lake Zurich High School. But it's a phenomenal school. So people looking to move and enjoy the the benefits of your community. What brought you to your community 35 years ago?
A job, a company that I work for. I was born and raised in Buffalo, New York. Still a longtime Bills fan, and still,
And they were robbed on Saturday and Sunday.
Nope, no lie. That was a great catch, though. But anyway, yeah, I thought I was going to be here 3 years, and now it's 35. So, life throws those things at you. So, and to be honest with you, when I moved here, there was 8,000 people. Now we're almost 20,000. So this is a totally different town than when I moved here. And I moved out of a townhouse in Pittsburgh. I was born in Buffalo. I had the company I worked for moved me to Pittsburgh and then to here. And then I got involved in local politics, and thinking that I could do it better than the guys before us, and not to pound my own horn, because there's really no voters watching this, but I think with the staff that we've got, we've really transformed what Lake Zurich currently looks like and does. We've got great professional staff. We've got we've cleaned up a lot of the old buildings. So my wife and I decided to stay here. So
And it's great. I mean, I think, and that's one of the nice things about working with Roy and the rest of your staff over the last couple of years is getting to know the ins and outs of Lake Zurich. And, for those who don't know, I mean, why don't you talk about what's around? You have Barrington to the west, you have, is it Palatine to the south, and then really, yes, the village of Lake Zurich is its own node, but really you're part of a larger area, a larger market area.
We like to refer to ourselves as the economic engine of Southwest Lake County because we're surrounded by some really nice and expensive communities who don't want or don't have the retail expression that we have. North Barrington is on our border. We got Killdeer, we got Deer Park, we've got the Windstone area. We're like 5 minutes away from the train, 10 minutes away from the train in Barrington and Palatine. I think we're ideally set for a lot of things. Part of the problem that we do have is that we don't have much space to grow anymore. We're pretty much grown out. We're looking at a few empty lots. We've got some great development coming. But what's interesting about the COVID thing is that we're not sitting on our hands. We're not, I'm not. I used the phrase the other day during our budget meeting. I'm not inclined to let us rot in place. I'd like to see us keep going, and we're doing that. Roy and his staff are routinely looking for new opportunities, at least on the business side. We don't, like I said before, we never say no to anybody. We may get to a no, but we're actively pursuing development on a few empty lots that we do have left. I have personally taken, I can't tell you how many people out and around the village trying to sell it. Unfortunately, COVID stopped a big project of ours with Lifetime Fitness, which is now sitting there waiting for, hopefully it was springtime to come and COVID to go away before they continue that project, which was a good get for us. And we've got some annexations that are taking place. So, we're not things just because we have a pandemic doesn't mean we have to sit here on our butts, and we're not.
Absolutely. And what was great seeing your entire town shine was when having the Consulate General of Japan come and the tour your staff and you put them on to take them through the community and through Echo, and really looking at how vibrant this area is and expansion for some of this industrial space. But just hearing from your business owners and leaders of how great they believe Lake Zurich is. And it was just really great because you had people from College Lake County, you had representatives from your state senator, your state rep, you had Margot from Offices Overseas Trade and Investment. So it was a great program you put together, and I think you've gotten a lot of follow-on from that.
That was all Roy's doing. I didn't have anything to do with that. I was just along for the ride. But we took them over to Echo. They loved the tour of Echo, and they got a chance to see that we're not just a little office complex there. We have some interesting, larger manufacturers in that industrial park. They got a chance to tour Lake Zurich, and I think it was a cold, windy day that day. I took them to one of our local restaurants, and as I'm sitting across the table from the Consul General, we started talking about bourbon, and right across the street from the restaurant we were in was the Copper Fiddle Distillery, and I ran across the street and got him a bottle of bourbon and brought it back to him. So he took that back to his hotel room, and hope he enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think he does. And because of these programs that are working with the municipalities, we're getting a much stronger relations with our consulate generals Like what was great, because building relationships, and you were in business for a long time, and how much relationships are key, and you want to build them up over time. And that was a great first step with Jetro and the Consulate General of Japan. So,
Marketing for the 30 plus years that I agree with you 100%, Michael, that building those relationships is key. And I think it's one of the cornerstones of my administration and our staff is that we are constantly out there, 7 days a week for some of us. Even though I'm only a part-time mayor, it seems like it's a full-time job sometimes, you know. Um,
mhm.
but building those relationships has been key. There is a downside to these jobs, and that's the negative social media aspect of it, where you got all these brave people sitting behind the keyboard who don't offer anything and don't do anything in the community, but they, you know, I try not to listen to that, but sometimes it's hard not to.
Yeah, it's hard not to feed the trolls. We have our detractors as well, and we've built up a pretty thick skin over the time. And and as we're talking about Lake Zurich, the other things too is the recreational amenities. I mean, we talk about the lake, but a lot of us really don't, that haven't been to Lake Zurich, don't understand the size of the lake, what that's like, how it's a wonderful amenity that you have.
Well, it is, but there's good and not so good with the lake. It's considered a private lake. Um, uh,
Mm,
the general public can't put a power boat on it. You have to be a property owner, but it's a beautiful 250-acre amenity that is nice to look at, And
mhm.
we have two parks on the lake. I mentioned the beer garden before, but that's in Breezewall Park, which is a small 5.5 acre park that we have that's on the lake. And our main park is Paulus Park, which is on the other side of the lake, where we've started with what do they call those inflatable things they put out in the water, Roy? The Wibbits, is that what they call them? Whatever it is, it's these
He's still mute.
giant bouncy toys that you have. We've got a kayak launch. We put a lot of money
Mm,
into that park, but we've also got 30 other parks in Lake Zurich, pocket parks all over the place. Um, when Lake Zurich was envisioned, I don't even know what the envision was back in the day. It was basically subdivisions built out of farmlands. They never had a park district, a separate taxing body that could feed
mm.
better programs than a parks department has. But we offer a lot of programs through our park and rec department. Uh, we offer special events through them as well. And I don't think there's anything that you can't find to do here. So,
Hmm. Well, and that's one of those pieces too of quality of life, and that's where, I grew up 2 towns over in Long Grove, and the quality of life that people want when they're raising families, it's just perfect for that, for the folks that want that type of lifestyle. It's idyllic, and it's still somewhat affordable as it relates to everything else. And then also other great things about Lake Zurich is that it's in the county of Lake and not in the county of Cook. It is, as you were saying, 10 minutes from 2 different train stations. So you do have that. We were talking earlier today about some of the findings from Jones Lang LaSalle is you're going to have this hub and spoke network where you may have a corporate office downtown you visit once a quarter. And then I was talking to somebody yesterday, they go to the corporate office once every other year, and everything else is remote. And being able to have this walkable, livable community, because it's just really this nice, friendly town where you can make an impact if you want to.
well, we also offer a really diverse and affordable housing stock. I mean, we've got everything from high-end apartments, some lower-end apartments to million-dollar homes. We've got a great education system. The District 95 school district is one of the top school districts in the state. So, and they're going through some significant changes themselves with some new building a new middle school, and the additions that they've had with the athletic fields at the high school and the school itself. We've also got what I think is a great arts environment here. One of our trustees, Mary Beth Euchre, is the president of a little company called Cricket Theater, where she and her company mates get kids involved in theater from like 5 years old, and they're putting on plays and concerts and stuff like that, and even the high school with the jazz band and pep band and marching band and concert band and choirs and that kind of stuff. So if we could find a place to put a nice performing arts building or that kind of thing, then that would be great too, I think, because we have to outside source it and do other things that would be difficult to do. But that's another thing that we offer that we don't really talk about it a lot. We talk about parks and we talk about athletic fields, but that artsy thing is a big deal around here. So
Yeah, and it's important, and it comes into what each town is special. When we've talked with the international set, and this is the predecessor to the current president for Sitka, her name was Teodora, and I'll always remember her reminding me that what in order to attract international investment, yes, you have to have some of the basics of talent and location, but they all want to know what makes your town different, what makes it unique, and what's from where I sit, and I get the luxury of have worked with roughly 80 different communities over the last 20 years in my current and former life. As Lake Zurich is this nice little jewel sit within Southwest Lake County that offers somebody that slice of Americana that you really don't get in sprawling suburbs. Some of the ones that are further south of you or further north, you have this dense, I'll call it almost like a Mayberry RFD. And that is still something very special.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to piggyback onto that a little bit, we're close to all those things, even where your former hometown in Long Grove, which is an old Mayberry RFD kind of place itself, and going through its own renaissance. If the buses and trucks could stop hitting the covered bridge there, that would be even better. But
Absolutely. I love that covered bridge. I used to walk through it to go caddy when I was in high school. And so I think some of the things I want to kind of bring Roy back in, if we're not getting a whole bunch of echoes through his mic, is just talking about the things that what Lake Zurich, we've been talking right before this session, is all these opportunities that are coming out with. There's a lot of liquidity in the market. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of small businesses looking to get started. What are some of the things you guys are trying to get ready for, say 3 months from now, to try and move forward? So I'm going to throw that to Roy on that.
Michael, I'm losing my signal here.
Okay.
You'd asked about.
Okay. Basically, with the entire staff of the mayor has done a great job getting everybody through to where we are today. What are you guys looking for tomorrow, say 3 months from now?
So
he's frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen. So I
Okay.
think
So,
I think what we're looking at is a significant change in the demographics. I see a lot
okay.
of the older residents moving out. I know on either side of me where I live, I've lost two longtime neighbors on either side of me. They've gone to warmer climates or smaller residences, and we see younger couples coming in, and so being we're adapting to that change. The older couples weren't as involved in the community or the park program and the park programs. We've got to find stuff that changes now. That's all changing. The same with the school system, where we're getting some ethnically different people here, which we encourage, but that also creates more change. And like I said before, we're pretty much built out. When I got elected, I'm not what you would say this artistic visionary. All we wanted to do was to make the place better, and we're doing that, and we'll continue to do that. So, retail
Yeah,
is still going to be a challenge for us. It's tough to get your Main Street, your Mayberry RFD locale going when you've got 8 miles of retail on Route 12, which is 2 minutes away. The
hmm
business people want to be where the big traffic is, and that bypass kind of killed that downtown area. But we've got some new residential coming in along the bypass, and we've got some, like I said, we've got some new residents coming in who want to be in Lake Zurich, and the advantages that offers. Uh, and I think we'll see some more build out in our industrial park. So, our challenge is going to be to bring the newer people, what they're interested in and what they want. So,
Yeah. Well, and it sounds that you've been doing the right pieces over the last, term and a half, because you're in the middle of your second term, of listening to the people, anticipating what's going on, building up civic institutions as well as the public institutions to really get ready for what's coming next. And I think that is a really commendable to really show the strength of leadership.
thank you. That's a big key for us. So, and that, and not only that, but working with our neighbors as best as we can. We're the 60047 area code, but that 600 area code includes all those towns that I talked about before, including part of your old town, Long Grove, comes out of that post
Yeah.
office. They all think they live in Lake
Mhm.
Zurich, but they don't.
Well, like I said, I'm old enough to remember when it was Ela Vernon High School before, Lake Zurich and Stevenson became Stevenson and Lake Zurich became Lake Zurich. Granted, I was really tiny at that point, but this is what happens with areas as they grow. And what's nice is within that area, within that Southwest Lake County, there is a space for everybody. If you want horse country, go out to Barrington. If you are looking for something that is cookie cutter, there are places for that. But what always draws me back to Lake Zurich is just how it's created its own identity. It's got a lot of civic pride with it. And that's one of the reasons why, for me, it makes it very special. Well, great. Well, Mayor, I'm going to leave you the last word about this. I think we're about wrapped for the day. I want to really thank you for coming in and speaking with us.
You're welcome. Sorry if we had the screw up at the beginning, but we got back on. That's good. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, we look forward to working with, I'm sure Roy does too, working, and Sarosh Sahar, who is our community services director. I can see that he's on the call as well. These
Yeah, if
these
you
two
let me
guys,
put them to work, I'll do it too.
yeah, these two guys,
Uh,
Sarosh and Roy,
Roy.
are the two leaders of our economic development team. What we did in the past was, and I just want to take a second here, Michael, and then you can
Yeah.
go. We had a building and zoning head who was thrust into the job of economic development. And so one of the things that we've done here is we've put together an economic development team so that if you're coming to Lake Zurich and you have a business or you have an opportunity or you have something, we put the finance people, we put the building and zoning people, we put the public works people, we put the key members of our senior staff into this team, and we'll meet with you instead of doing it piecemeal, one point at a time, and having a gatekeeper who may say no. We talk to you. We may get to a no, but we massage it and we try to find things. And I'm going to give you a great example of that. We had a brewery called Roaring Table that was going to go in the Main Street area. They were close to a deal with the developer, or not the developer, but with the property owner, and it fell through. Working with another property owner in town, we were able to keep Roaring Table in a different strip plaza and keep them here in Lake Zurich, and they're flourishing where they are. Those are the kind of things that we like to do, that we hang our hat on. And if it wasn't for this development team doing that and taking those extra steps, we would have lost them. So
Yeah. And it's great. And I see Sarosh and Roy at ICSC. They're actively engaged with things that we're doing at Select USA. And it's we call that being proactive. You have a very proactive economic development stance, which is wonderful. So, Mayor, I want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy day to speak with us. We look forward to working with you in 2021 and beyond. I think that we can create some great places throughout the next year to be able to showcase Lake Zurich as a wonderful place to have a soft landing for companies to come in and develop. And I definitely look forward to working with you in the new year.